Hey everybody, welcome to Chin Fat. In this episode, I'm continuing going over color grading in Davinci Resolve, and this one specifically, we're going to be going through skin tones here. We've gone through this whole process in previous episodes here where we've done brightness, contrast, balancing, saturation, and some secondaries on the flowers and on the shirt. And now we're going to work on skin tone, which is technically a secondary as well, because we're going to use the qualifier to do this, and we're just going to pick out the skin tones and correct those if they need it. So let's get our subject into the shot there, because we're going to be working on the skin tone, and we've got our node selected that I've got labeled as skin tone as well. So we are going to be using the Vectorscope to gauge the colors here. The Vectorscope's great for two major reasons. One of the major reasons is saturation. We showed that in a previous episode where if you grab the saturation, if you drag this all the way down and desaturate it, you have a black and white image and everything is sucked into this little point there that shows no colors in this at all. We undo that, and then if you grab your saturation and increase it, it'll spread the colors out more towards their legal limit of saturation here, which is these oversaturation points here. But what we're looking for, the other thing that the Vectorscope is good with is adjusting hues. Hues is basically your basic color shades of your images here. If you open this up, we've got some blooming out, some saturated points that are going out towards cyan and going out toward the yellow. And I probably pushed these a little too much in the previous episode, but just kind of to really demonstrate what this is doing. And then we've got some stuff going off to the reds there. So we've got a little bit of blooming in every direction. But if you go up to the settings here for your Vectorscope, click on this little settings pull down here. There is a check mark under here under additional gamut that is show skin tone indicator. If we click on that, it's going to bring up this line right here. Now these are skin tone. When we talk about skin tones, that's a little bit of a misnomer. Skin tone is actually brightness level of the skin. The word tone is actually referencing brightness levels, not so much colors. But when you do change your brightness level, it does change colors. If you darken an image, you got dark blues. If you brighten an image, you got brighter blues. So that is changing your colors from like dark blue to light blue, or whatever color you're looking at. And it so happens that everybody pretty much shares the exact same skin tone. The skin tone line right here, and by skin tone we're actually talking about color, because that where people actually differ is in darkness and lightness of skin. But everybody has the same color, and that's because we've got capillaries in our skin that are right on the surface, and the blood is flowing through it, and we really emanate a very strong toward the red and a little bit toward the yellow, kind of shared there. But the skin tone indicator shows where those skin tones should be. If you go ahead and search on Google just skin tone, Pantone, it'll bring up a bunch of these different images that are comparing different skin tones. And the skin tones, once again, is literally referencing how dark or light the skin is. But I want to show you when we bring this into Resolve, a picture like this into Resolve, that if we click on the skin, everybody tends to have the same, have a very similar skin color. So I'm going to right click on this. We'll go open image, a new tab. So I've brought this image into Resolve, and if we go to our secondaries here and we click on somebody's skin here, let's click on somebody's lighter skin here. I'm just going to drag across the forehead here. I'm also going to create a mask over that subject there. In our next episode, we will go over masking. So I've masked out that one subject right there, and we're going to go to our highlight here and show what we have selected here. And in these images here, they are matching the background based on the skin color here, or on the skin tone, I should say. But if you look at this here, this is riding right along that line right there with somebody with the light skin. Let's go on a different person here. Let's go on somebody with a darker tone here. We're going to go on this subject up here. So we've got that selected, and now let's grab our eyedropper here, and we're going to drag that across the skin, kind of same thing across the forehead. And let's isolate that. And now you'll notice here, that is pretty much identical right there. So the skin color that we're selecting here is very, very similar. And that's along what they call the skin tone indicator there. And once again, a tone has been commonly used. People think you're talking about color, so the Resolve uses that as well, even though it is a little bit of a misnomer there. So, but that's what we're looking for there. So let's go back to our subject here. And on our final note here, we're going to start working on the skin tone. Now, this is not going to be as important since this is a wide shot, but I want to show you on this like as a medium shot or a close-up as well. So I'm going to zoom up to our character here, and we're going to grab our qualifier, and we're going to drag it across the face here. Let's just drag that across the face and get as much as that skin tone as possible. Notice it's grabbing a whole bunch of other stuff here around there. So we're going to go up to our highlight here, with our highlight turned on, and we're going to go black and white. And we're going to try to arrange this so we're getting less selection out here and more selection on just the skin here. So actually we can go back to the color gray. Let's try that first. But I'm going to move this around here and try to grab with the hue, try to grab as much of that skin as possible. And we're going to grab saturation. Now look, this is starting to, as we change the saturation, now we're starting to get more of the skin. And let's grab luminance and change that as well. and we're going to try to grab the skin there. And even though we're not getting like the eyes and stuff, we can blend this in a little bit. Now we can go black and white, as we did in our previous episode, and let's clean up the black a little bit, clean up those black areas, and get rid of those dots in these outlying regions, and just try to isolate it on the face. We're going to clean the white here, just emphasis on the skin there, and clean the black a little bit more, and that's looking pretty good right there. Now we're going to blur our radius and make it just a little soft edge, just very, very subtle soft edge. Now let's go back to our main image here, and oh wait, let's go back to here. We're going to go color gray, and we're going to look at where our skin tones are lying. So this is kind of spreading out between yellow and red a little bit. We got kind of a wide range of colors here. We could grab our gamma here and kind of push it a little bit more toward the red and try to center that a little bit more. But this is kind of spreading off. This is sharing some ranges from yellow to red, but that's looking pretty good right there. So that's what you can usually do, is push that off, where you can use your curves as well. So we can just grab our gamma here and we can just push it a little bit toward the red, and we're trying to center that so it gets kind of an even grade of yellow versus red there, and that's right along the line there. We didn't have to do too much correcting here. But once in a while, if you've made it in one of your earlier nodes, if you've made your image a little bit too blue or a little bit too red, you've tried to warm it up a little bit and it's made the skin go a different color, then you can use your last node to correct that skin tone and bring it back after the rest of the image is like got a blue wash. Let's show that really quick. So I'm going to reset this node right there, and we're going to go to our balance, and we're going to say we want kind of a bluish wash to this entire image here. So we're going to go, and this would be kind of more of an extreme example here if we're doing this. Let's go to our balance, and we're going to push this whole image off. In fact, let's choose the offset here. We're going to push this image over to the blue and really cool this off. I'm going to do it a little too much just to show you how you can bring the skin tones back here. So there's our blue wash. Let's go to our skin tone at the end, and now our skin tones are probably going to be off because we added that blue wash to our entire image. So let's grab our secondaries. We're going to zoom up to the face here. So we're going to grab our qualifier here, and I'm going to drag it. I'm just going to click on the nose here. Right now I'm just going to try to isolate some of that skin color right there. In fact, let's go to our highlight here, and we're going to try to get as little outside here as possible. So I clicked on the face like right there, but this is what I'll end up doing. If you drag it across, you're going to get a lot of shared colors here. So with how extreme this shot is now, I'm just going to click on single points and try to get just the skin and nothing else here. And let's get in a little bit of the hair. We could go down and move our saturation around and just a little bit, and maybe the luminance, and try to get rid of some of that hair and try to stick with the face. Let's go to our black mask. We're going to clean our black. We're going to clean our white. And that's getting pretty good there. And then we're going to do our blur radius here. Soften that up just a little bit. And now let's go to our color. Let's go to our gray here, and we're going to look at our Vectorscope here. And this seems like it's pushing off a little bit more towards the reds and magenta, so we can grab this. And once again, this is kind of an extreme example. I made this quite blue, and there's a better way to do skin tones. It's called a parallel node. We're not going to get into that. It's a little complex, but I'm going to grab our gamma, and we're going to push it over and correct that more toward the red, and maybe give it a little bit more saturation just to bring out the colors of that face. Now let's take a look at this here. So I'm going to close my scope there. Let's go back to our main image, and now we're going to turn off this node here and show you the before and after. So it's kind of got this bluish wash, and now we hit Command D, and we've got the colors back. So that helped in bringing those colors back on the face, and now we've got that blue wash over the entire image, and we've retained the natural skin tone there. So let's show that on another note here. We're going to go to a close up here, our medium shot. We got our close to medium here, and we're going to bring out this. Let's look at the skin tones on this shot here. So I've got the skin tone one selected. This one's the warm image that we had there rather than that big blue wash. With my qualifier here on the skin tone node, I'm going to click and drag across the face. We're going to go to our highlight here, and we've already got a lot of the skins there. Let's move our saturation around, try to get rid of all the other stuff outside that image there, and let's grab our luminance and try to get rid of much of the hair and try to stick with the skin. We're going to go to our black versus white here. We're going to clean our black, clean out all those areas outside, clean the white, get a nice kind of solid mask on the skins here, and then we're going to blur it a little bit, just soften it up the edges a little bit. There we go. And we got a pretty good mask right there. So let's look at our color here on our Vectorscope, and this is looking like the colors are pretty accurate here. They're just a little bit off to the reds, so we're going to grab our gamma and just push this down to split the difference there between the yellow. Keep that right on that skin tone line. And once again, let's give a little bit of saturation here at the bottom, just to kind of emphasize what we're doing. I'm going to give it a little too much, but just so you can see the difference. That's way too much there. But let's look at our entire image here, and I can change my saturation. Here's my skin tone node. I'm going to hit Command D and look at the difference before and after. Like I said, a little too much saturation. Let's go 55 on the saturation. And now let's hit Command D, look at the before and after. There's before and there's after. And you see how that brings a little bit of color back to the face there and brings the subject to life a little bit more. So, cool. Well, that's working with skin tones on how to correct skin tones. In our next episode, we're going to be going over masking, which is going to be relevant with this sort of shot where you just want to correct the skin tones and nothing else. You can create a mask over the subject. So that'll be our next episode, and thank you for watching ChinFat.